Man, this is not how I wanted my first video of the year to go. So I almost died last night, which was fun. This isn't really meant to be as much of a funny video as more of a awareness bringing video. So I want to make a video about it, and also going to be posting a description of what happened written as well on my Twitter, which I'll be linking this video as well. So whatever works for you. If you're a visual person, if you're a reading person, hopefully one of these two will help. I'd appreciate it if as many people as possible could watch this and hopefully learn something from this. This isn't really anyone's fault, apart from Pringles. I got a bone to pick with you motherfuckers, because a few months ago I realised I could have Pringles, or some of the Pringles. Some of the Pringles did have milk in, but the ones I could have were the original, the paprika, and the Texas barbecue flavour. So I liked paprika, and I liked eating them, whatever. And essentially yesterday, I'd been drinking with my friends. I'm of age, shut the fuck up. I probably had like 6 or 7 ciders. I was a bit shit-faced, to be honest. Basically, me and my friends were like, let's go to the shops, grab some snacks, and I was like, yes, let's go. Hopefully there's some paprika Pringles, and there were, which is really cool. And then picked them up. I was eating some on the way back. I'd probably say maximum I had was about, you know Pringles, so like probably about this much. And then I started to feel my throat itch, which for those that don't know, that's a symptom of having an allergic reaction. Now sometimes, because of the weird way my brain works, and probably lots of people with allergies, that a lot of people probably don't know about, there is so much anxiety and fear attached to having allergies, especially allergies like mine, which are so like common within the world. So dairy, nuts and egg, I can have anaphylactic reactions to them, which mostly ends up in hospital. I definitely need my EpiPen. So it's very serious and they're very severe, and they always have been since I was younger. A lot of the time, if I'll eat something that I can have and it's perfectly fine, my brain can like put itself in this mode of like, oh, but what if there's some cross-contamination or something? What if there is something in it? If I start feeling a bit sick or have a scratchy throat after eating something, which I think is something that happens to a lot of people. But obviously with the connotations attached to my fears about it, I always like double check the ingredients, and mostly it's fine. And I thought that would be the case for this, but it wasn't. I checked the ingredients and it said that it had whey protein in, and in bold, milk. Now I can tell you, there is no difference in the packaging of the Pringles, and I'm going to put them up on screen, and I want you to tell me if you see anything different, because I don't. The only difference is that they've added that onto the ingredient list. It says that they are no longer vegan, but they are vegetarian. But it doesn't say that they've changed from vegan to vegetarian. They've just gotten rid of the vegan label and put the vegetarian one there only. And that is it. There is no signs saying that there had been a change in ingredients, which I think is fucking appalling, considering milk is a major allergen. Whether it's common or not, I started panicking, as one does, because the last time I had an allergic reaction was about 15 years ago, when I was 4. And for that one, I almost died, basically. The doctors had to tell my parents to prepare themselves for the possibility of me dying. Now that's when you're super fucking close to the edge. I was worried that was going to happen again. Going to keep it 100 with you. I'm always constantly worried that that's going to happen to me. Every day. When I eat, when I drink, that's something that constantly goes on in my brain. I got Yeet to check for me, to double check it. And then she was like, oh shit, yeah, there is milk in these. My friends, I'm going to use the online usernames. So Pix was there, Lemonade was there, and Sammy was there. And we were just actually on our way back to Pix's like place when this happened. And we were right outside when I'd realised, which is a good thing, because we luckily, had a postcode that we can count on. Because you're not really meant to move when you're having an allergic reaction, especially once you've had the adrenaline. So basically, what happened is I called my dad straight away, which is, it's ironic because like 10 minutes prior, my dad messaged me like, you guys alright? And I'm like, yep. Then 10 minutes later, I'm having an allergic reaction. So I basically explained, my throat is itchy, it has milk in, like, I should call an ambulance, right? Because I'd always been trained, call parents, call an ambulance, have the EpiPen, wait for the ambulance. And they're just like, yes. Because I think, because of the state I was in, I kind of needed that confirmation that I wasn't going crazy. So Sammy starts calling the ambulance. I then pass the phone over to Yeet, who talks to my parents and lets them know where we are, kind of thing. The phone from the 999 dispatcher was passed to me, and I was answering these questions, and I remember going up to Sammy, and I was like, are you trained to give this? Because I knew that they had some kind of like first aid training, and she said yes, and I was like, awesome, stab this in my leg, please. And I checked the liquid quickly, because for those that don't know, in like adrenaline pens, like there's this little clear thing where you can see the liquid to see if it's okay to use, even if it is out of date. Which we found out later that it was. Stabbed in my leg. I don't really feel it, so thank alcohol for that. But also not so great because the alcohol also numbs kind of the symptoms as well. So this whole time, like, I'm not sure how severe this is happening. Because usually when it's a heavy amount, because for the last reaction I had a whole spoonful of yogurt and I licked the lid. And I was vomiting. I was shitting myself. Like, it was a mess, dude. Because what happens is your organs go into lockdown. They go into failure, right? Your body is just shutting down. Because they're trying to fight this thing. I'm like, okay, I haven't thrown up yet, that's good. I've had the EpiPen. And the dispatcher says that the ambulance is on the way. I'm like, cool, swag. And around 10 minutes after we first called the dispatcher, a first responder came, which wasn't the ambulance. It was like a separate thing, just to double check that I'm doing okay and like to get someone there as soon as possible. She took my vitals, done my blood pressure and my finger temperature thing, and they all seemed fine. And by that point, my parents were there, and they managed to find where we were, thanks to Pix and their partner helping to like navigate. Because where they live is kind of it's a weird place to live. So after that, around I want to say like half an hour later, so it took about an hour for the ambulance to get there, which wasn't too happy about. So when the ambulance got there, I walked in the ambulance, and they were asking me these questions, which I'd already kind of been asked before. But the overall attitude of the ambulance people were very weird. It didn't help that the first responder that first arrived said that I had an intolerance to dairy, which is incorrect. I have an allergy. There's a difference between having an intolerance and having an allergy. Having an allergy can be life-threatening, is life-threatening. An intolerance means you can tolerate it, but you just feel a bit sick. That's not me trying to like demean any kind of like painfulness and uncomfortableness that intolerant people have to deal with, but there's distinct difference between life and death and feeling sick. So I was already like, dude, I just literally told you the story about how I almost died 15 years ago. That's not an intolerance, buddy. Why would I be carrying 2 adrenaline pens if this was an intolerance? It wasn't really off to a good start. One of the paramedics just seemed bored. Had her feet up, seemed tired. Like, I get that, but it was just like, show a bit of attentiveness, show a bit of care, you know? I'm obviously going through an emotionally traumatic thing, and you're just sitting there like you're bored, like I'm wasting your time. And that's the vibe that I got from them. The vibe was that I was wasting their time, and the person asking my questions, they seemed nice enough, but it was still like the same vibe of, oh god, what are they doing? And they asked me these questions when we were stationary, and it's like, because I had the adrenaline, I had to technically go to the hospital so they could observe me for a bit. So why we weren't just making our way to the hospital already, I don't fucking know. We get to the hospital. I think they're talking to like one of the nurses station kind of thing. So I'm just sitting in like a yellow chair in the corridor. Just their whole attitude felt very off to me. And I felt very belittled, invalidated, and overall just annoyed. And no one could come with me in the ambulance for COVID reasons, obviously. And no one could be in the hospital with me. I didn't even get a room. And that's not me thinking like it's a hotel or something. But they told me they were going to observe me. And they sat me in the reception area. Like, they sat me in a waiting room. And that was it. Like, I understand that obviously, like, I'm not showing any signs of illness. But if you were actually concerned me having a secondary reaction, well, what's going to happen when the waiting room gets busy? How are you going to clear a space? How are you going to get me out of there? How are you going to get me treated? But by the time I'd gotten to the hospital, it'd been like 2 hours since my initial reaction. I waited another hour. And I was told I was going to be seen by someone. And I wasn't. For like a whole hour. Like, again, I understand with like COVID and stuff, it's very, very like difficult. And it's very busy. And hard to manage. But overall, I just felt very dismissed. Like, they didn't give 2 shits. And the thing is, I love the NHS. It's an amazing service we have here in the UK. And I'm incredibly grateful for it. But honestly, this was like probably one of the worst experiences I've ever had with them. I just felt very, very unheard. Very dismissed. Very unvalued. Like, I thought I was gonna die, bro. I could have had a secondary reaction that was worse. Like, and it just seemed like they did not care. So basically, after an hour of waiting, I was on the phone to my parents a bit, and my mum is a midwife, so she does have medical training to some extent, and also my brother also has severe allergies, so she's dealt with this for over 20 years. Like, she knows what to look out for, and she was like, you would be more observed at home and looked after at home than you would be at the hospital right now. Because I had no other symptoms really. I had a bit of an upset stomach, but I believe that was because of the adrenaline. And it wasn't getting any worse. I wasn't getting any worse. So after an hour of waiting, I was like, I said to receptionist, I'm going to leave at 8, just because I haven't been seen. I feel alright. So at the end of it, I just kind of walked out. I would have been looked after more at home. I would have been observed more. I had Yeet with me. I had my parents and my family at home at least. There, I was just like a sitting duck. During a pandemic, with lots of people coming in and out of this room, I just didn't feel very comfortable to be there. So I left and I went home. I ate, and rested and slept. And that's basically it. I'll say that's basically it. I don't think I could ever put into words how, like, terrifying that experience is. And maybe I've belittled it with what I'm saying, but I'm just being blunt with it. Like, I was fucking scared. And whether you get that or not, or understand that or not, it'd be nice for some people to have some sympathy for people like me with those severe allergies in this situation. Like, throughout my whole life, I've never eaten anywhere out, really. I don't have extended family members or my friends cook for me. I always check ingredients. I like triple check them sometimes, just in case. Even though I could easily spot something off of ingredients, I always check them. Just this one time I didn't, which is the most infuriating thing. So if I checked the ingredients, this would have been avoided. But at the same time, if Pringles had actually done some sort of fucking labelling, that would have helped. Because if I had more of those Pringles, I don't know how I would have ended up as. If my friends were with me, I don't know how that would have turned out. If I didn't have my adrenaline with me, I don't know how that would have turned out. There are so many things that could have made this so much worse. And I honestly believe I could have lost my life if one of those things went wrong. Or could have lost my life. So it is incredibly frustrating when people constantly make these jokes about allergies when it's a life-threatening thing. This is my life. I don't get to have takeout. I don't get to go out for family meals. I don't really get to go out. If I go on holiday, I have to bring my own food. I don't think people quite realise how much of an emotional and mental toll it is, as well as a physical one. I cannot tell you how tired I was when I got home. How drained I was, just sitting in that waiting chair for an hour and nothing happening. It was an incredibly emotional experience and traumatic, because I thought I was good. I thought, I was one of the good ones. I was very careful with what I ate. I also remember one of the paramedics saying how I had preemptively took my adrenaline, like I wasn't meant to, which is incorrect. I felt symptoms. I'd ingested something I'm allergic to. I'm taking my adrenaline. I don't give a fuck whether I'm bad enough to have it or not. In situations like these, it's like they expect you to be gasping for air, to be throwing your guts out for them to actually give a shit and sympathise. I'm sorry that I'd done the right thing by having my adrenaline when I should have had it. Again, adding to that thing of, like, I just felt like I was belittled, like I was going crazy. Like, my issue didn't matter. That was wasting time. I'm disgusted and appalled really about how I was treated and viewed by some of the paramedics. I'm disgusted and appalled by fucking Pringles. A multi-billion-dollar company can't afford to put a label saying they changed the ingredients to add a major allergen. They're gonna kill someone. Like you might think I'm over-exaggerating, but that could happen, and that could have been me. And that's fucked up. That's fucked up at 19 years old. I have to think about that shit. That's fucked up at 5 years old. I had to think about that shit. Now my parents had to instill this fear in me for my own safety. Because fucking multi-billion-dollar companies don't give a shit. Because restaurant owners don't give a shit. Because they don't take it seriously. If you've watched this, if you've read what I've written, and you think I'm over-exaggerating, be like, oh, you didn't die, so it's not that bad. You're just an unsympathetic person. And you're being an ignorant cunt, basically. I don't give a fuck. There's a difference between, like, wanting to ask questions and be educated, which I don't mind. If anyone has any questions, if anyone wants me to talk about this more, certain parts more, I'm happy to. There's a difference between that and then completely dismissing it. If you do that, go fuck yourself, basically. I can't express how upsetting it is to just not be able to do stuff. There's been times at, like, school where I haven't been able to do trips and stuff or do opportunities because of my health conditions. And that's what it is. It's a health condition. I again, like, the simplest things. You know, like, I would do anything to just be able to order a pizza or order a Mackey's, but I can't. Because I can't trust anyone. The only person I can trust is myself, my girlfriend, and my parents, really. That's about it. That's really fucking sad. Oh, I'm coming for your asses, by the way, Pringles. I'm going to email you. I'm going to email Kellogg's, I think, who owns Pringles as well. I even tweeted at the Pringles help and support, although they aren't open on the weekends, which I didn't check that, to be fair. From the looks of it, my tweet is the most liked tweet they've had added at them, so I'm interested to see their response. I basically say, hey, I almost died because you didn't put a warning about your change in ingredients adding a severe allergen. What the fuck is with that then? Because they've done it with all of their Pringles, apart from their original. And it's to help food waste, aka they're cost cutting. They're doing it so they don't have to worry about having separate factories. It's my theory that they can just have it all in the same factory, they just all go through the same process, so it's less money. Well, I'm glad you saved a few fucking pee, bro. You're fucking getting rid of, like, a snack. You know, like, I liked paprika Pringles, dude. You're getting rid of some of your fucking consumers. You idiots. I'm just gonna email as much institutions and stuff that I can to try and spread this story around, because I was just lucky. I was just lucky. That's it. You can't say that nothing happened, because something could have happened. I was just lucky. I was incredibly lucky that I had my friends around me, and that I was conscious, and I knew what to do. Imagine if someone that just forgot their adrenaline, and they just wanted a snack whilst they were out, right? And they were like, oh, I've had these before. The packaging's the same. They wouldn't have changed the ingredients. They start eating them. Oh, my throat's a bit tingly. Oh, I'm sure it's nothing. They continue eating them. They have more, you know? It's like a domino effect. They won't have their adrenaline that they can have immediately, so they'll have to rely on an ambulance to come 40 minutes later. You can tell me whether that's fucked up or not. Thank you for watching, for those that have. I'm hoping it was coherent. It's a bit more structured than when I wrote it out, so if you want any more details, feel free to do that. If you have any questions, feel free to tweet at me or even comment. I really do appreciate all the love and support, by the way. Loads of people, like, replied, like, dude, you're okay? Bro, I'm like, I'm good. I'm alive, thankfully. But I didn't actually think many people would get how severe it was, so that was a nice reaction to, like, get, and really comforting. So just thank you to those people, to people watching. Fuck Pringles. All my homies hate Pringles.